Introduction to Interpretive Reading. This course is designed to develop your ability to read beyond the surface level. In many previous reading classes, you may have focused mainly on answering comprehension questions, identifying who, what, when, and where. These are literal comprehension tasks. However, in this course, we will go further. We will learn how to analyze ideas critically, interpret implied meanings, identify tone and authorial stance, recognize bias and assumptions, evaluate arguments using evidence. Before we begin analyzing complex texts, it is essential for us to understand the concept and purpose of interpretation in reading. What is reading? Reading is not merely pronouncing words or translating sentences. Reading is a process of constructing meaning from text. According to reading comprehension theory, when you read, you bring your vocabulary knowledge, grammatical understanding, background knowledge, and personal experiences. Meaning is not simply received from the page. It is constructed in your mind through interaction between the reader, the text, and the reading activity. This is why two students reading the same news article may understand it differently. Their knowledge, beliefs, and purposes shape how they interpret what they read. 3 levels of reading. To understand interpretive reading, we must distinguish it from literal reading and also understand how it differs from critical reading. Literal reading focuses on information that is directly stated in the text. It answers questions such as who, what, when, where. For example, if a text says, "The boy walked home because it was raining," the literal meaning is clear. He walked home, and the reason was rain. Interpretive reading, however, goes deeper. It asks, why did the author choose this detail? Does the rain symbolize something? Sadness, cleansing, reluctance? What emotional atmosphere is created? What assumptions are embedded in this simple sentence? Interpretive reading moves beyond surface meaning and explores implied meaning. It is often described as reading between the lines. Then there is critical reading. This level evaluates the text. Critical readers question the author's claims, identify bias, distinguish fact from opinion, and form judgments about the text's reliability and logic. For instance, literal, the room was dark. Interpretive, the darkness suggests fear or uncertainty. Critical, the author exaggerates the darkness to manipulate the reader's emotions. These 3 levels are not separate stages. They work together. But interpretive reading is the bridge that connects what is said to what is meant. What is interpretive reading? Now let us define interpretive reading clearly. Interpretive reading is reading that goes beyond literal understanding to grasp the author's intended message, implied meanings, emotions, and attitudes. It requires the reader to analyze language and word choice, tone and mood, character motivations or author's purpose, context, both textual and cultural. In some contexts, interpretive reading also refers to reading aloud a text in a way that conveys its meaning and emotion to an audience through voice and expression. In this course, we will focus primarily on silent interpretive reading for implied meaning, but the analytical skills you develop will also help you become more expressive readers when you do read aloud. An important principle to remember is this: there may be multiple interpretations of a text, but every interpretation must be supported by evidence. Interpretation is not guessing. It is not simply projecting your own opinions onto a text. Interpretation is reasoned analysis, and the text itself must provide the evidence for your claims. Elements of interpretation. There are 3 main elements involved in the interpretive process. First, the text itself, including its language, structure, and genre. Words matter. Sentence structure matters. The way a text is organized signals meaning. Second, the author, including purpose, audience, cultural background, and possible ideology. Authors make choices. Understanding why they make those choices is central to interpretation. Third, the reader, including prior knowledge, experiences, beliefs, and perspective. You bring yourself to the text, and that shapes what you see. Meaning is created through interaction between these 3 components. This is why different readers may interpret the same text differently, and why we can have productive discussions about text without necessarily reaching one correct answer. Why interpretive reading matters. Interpretive reading is not just an academic exercise. It is essential in university study and professional life. As university students, you will read research articles, academic essays, literary texts, media reports, opinion pieces. Without interpretive skills, readers may accept arguments uncritically, fail to detect bias or manipulation, misunderstand implied meanings, overlook deeper themes and connections. Interpretive reading develops Critical thinking, because you must make inferences, evaluate evidence, and consider alternative interpretations. Analytical reasoning, because you must break down complex texts into meaningful components. Academic writing skills, because interpretation forms the foundation of analytical essays. Intellectual independence, because you learn to form and defend your own reasoned interpretations. Key elements you will learn. Throughout this course, we will return again and again to 6 key elements of interpretive reading. 1. Contextual understanding. Readers must notice the broader context, situation, setting, time, social and cultural background. Context often signals implied meanings, such as irony, politeness, or social criticism. 2. Inference making. Making inferences means drawing logical conclusions from the information in the text, plus your prior knowledge. This is the heart of reading between the lines. 3. Tone and mood analysis. Tone is the author's attitude toward the subject or the audience. For example, serious, humorous, sarcastic, sympathetic. Mood is the emotional atmosphere created in the reader. Tense, joyful, sad, uneasy. 4. Character motivations and author's purpose. In narratives, readers analyze characters' motivations, thoughts, and behaviors to uncover subtle messages. In expository or argumentative texts, readers identify the author's purpose: to inform, persuade, entertain, criticize, or provoke. 5. Cultural considerations. Cultural references, norms, and values influence how meaning is implied and understood. Readers must be aware that some meanings may not be obvious to those outside a particular cultural context. 6. Critical thinking. Interpretation does not stop at understanding. Readers analyze, evaluate, and synthesize information. They question assumptions and connect ideas to other texts and experiences. These 6 elements are your toolkit. We will practice each one throughout the semester. A simple reflection. Before we close, I would like you to reflect on these questions. What kind of reader are you? Do you usually read deeply or only for information? Do you notice what authors leave unsaid? What challenges do you face when reading English texts? Be honest with yourself. This reflection will help you grow throughout the semester. Closing. In today's session, we have discussed the structure and expectations of this course, the concept of reading as meaning construction, the 3 levels of reading: literal, interpretive, and critical, the definition and importance of interpretive reading, the 6 key elements we will develop throughout the course. This is the end of the session. Thank you for your attention.